If you're stretching every day, but somehow you feel stiffer, not looser, you're not doing anything wrong. In fact, this is one of the biggest movement myths in healthy aging. Because after 50, and especially over 60, stretching alone stops working the way it used to. Not because your body is broken. Not because aging is inevitable, but because your muscles, joints, and connective tissue have changed, and nobody explains what actually needs to change with them. Today, I'm going to show you why stretching alone stops working as you age, the critical difference between flexibility versus mobility, and what actually restores pain-free movement, senior mobility, and confidence, safely, after 50. Before we go any further, make sure to hit subscribe. This channel is all about over 50 workouts, healthy aging movement, and simple ways to stay strong, balanced, and independent for decades, not just flexible on the floor. Because here's the truth most people never hear: if stretching was enough, you'd feel better by now. So let's talk about why that stopped happening, and what your body is really asking for instead. Why stretching used to work, and why it doesn't now. There was a time when stretching felt amazing. You stretched your hamstrings and felt lighter. You loosened your shoulders and your neck relaxed. Your back felt freer, sometimes almost instantly. That's because younger muscles are naturally more elastic. They rebound quickly. They tolerate lengthening without feeling threatened. But as we age, several things quietly shift. There's loss of muscle elasticity with age. There's more connective tissue stiffness around the joints. And age-related muscle loss, called sarcopenia, slowly reduces how much strength and control we have. None of this happens overnight. It happens gradually, which is why it's so confusing. So now when you stretch, you're pulling on tissue that's no longer designed to hold that range by itself. You may feel a temporary release, but within hours, sometimes minutes, your body tightens right back up. That's not failure. That's protection. Your nervous system is essentially saying, I don't feel strong enough here yet, and that's why flexibility without strength doesn't stick. You might increase range of motion, but without control, your brain doesn't trust it, so it pulls you back into stiffness. That's when frustration sets in. People stretch longer. They stretch harder. They stretch more often. And instead of improving joint health, they feel tighter, sore, and sometimes even more unstable. Flexibility versus mobility. The missing piece. This is where one small distinction makes a massive difference. Flexibility is passive. Something moves you into a position. Gravity. A strap. The floor. Mobility is active. You move yourself, and control the motion the entire way. As we age, the body becomes far more interested in control than length. That's why mobility exercises for seniors are more effective than static stretching alone. Your joints don't just want to move, they want to feel safe while moving. Without strength and stability, stretching can actually increase joint stiffness with aging, because your nervous system tightens things up to prevent injury. This is why so many people say, I stretch every day, but I still feel tight. What they're really missing is active mobility exercises, controlled range of motion, and joint-friendly exercises that rebuild trust between the brain and the body. Mobility teaches your joints, this range is usable, this range is safe. And that changes everything. Why strength changes everything after 50. This is where things finally start to click. Once you pair mobility with strength training for seniors, movement begins to change quickly, often within weeks. Strength gives your body permission to keep the range you gain. That's why resistance training over 50 often improves flexibility better than stretching ever did. When muscles can create force at end ranges, your nervous system relaxes. It stops pulling the brakes. This is why functional movement training works so well for healthy aging. You're not just moving more, you're moving with stability and balance, confidence and control. And that matters for real life. Standing up from a chair without hesitation. Reaching overhead without guarding your shoulder. Turning quickly without fear of losing balance. Catching yourself if you trip. This is how you prevent falls in seniors, not with more stretching, but with smarter movement. Quick reminder. If you want guidance on senior mobility, over 50 workouts, and practical ways to move better as you age, make sure you're subscribed. New videos every week focused on strength, balance, and long-term independence. What actually works instead? So what actually works? Not extreme workouts. Not painful stretching sessions. And definitely not pushing through discomfort. What works is a daily approach built around 3 simple ideas: active mobility, stability, and balance. Training strength through controlled movement. This isn't about heavy lifting or gym intimidation. It's about teaching your body how to move well again. Think slow, controlled squats where you stay balanced. Supported lunges that strengthen hips and knees. Gentle rotational movements for the spine. Balance-focused exercises that wake up stabilizing muscles. These dynamic movement patterns rebuild confidence in your joints. Over time, stiffness decreases. Pain reduces. Movement feels smoother and more natural. This is how people start aging without pain, not by stretching harder, but by moving smarter. Why this matters more than you think. Movement isn't just physical. When you stop trusting your body, you shrink your world. You avoid certain activities. You move cautiously. You second-guess yourself. But when movement feels safe again, everything changes. You walk taller. You move without fear. You stop overthinking everyday actions. That's what real longevity habits look like. Not chasing flexibility, but building independence after 60. Not pushing through pain, but creating pain-free movement for seniors that supports daily life. This is how you stay active after 50, and why stretching alone just isn't enough anymore. Stretching didn't fail you. It just stopped being the whole solution. As we age, the body needs mobility, not just flexibility. Strength, not just range control, not just motion. When you combine those, movement becomes easier, not harder, with age. If this video helped you rethink stretching and movement, make sure to subscribe. And if you want a simple next step, start replacing a few stretches this week with active mobility and gentle strength. Your body will thank you.